Welcome to the Aftermath, the podcast dedicated to teaching, leading, and encouraging Christians who aspire to do more and be better in their walk with Christ. I'm your host, Randy C. MAYS, and each week we take a deep dive into inspiring stories to help you navigate the challenges and opportunities that follow life's pivotal moments. Whether you're seeking personal growth, a deeper faith, or a stronger sense of community, the Aftermath is here to support you on your journey. Join us as we explore how to transform trials into triumphs and setbacks into stepping stones, all for the glory of God. Let's embark on a journey together and discover the powerful impact of living a Christ-centered life. Welcome to the Aftermath. Today's episode of the Aftermath is brought to you by Jesus Is My Plug, the ultimate Christian streetwear brand that combines faith and fashion. If you want to make a bold statement about your faith while looking stylish, head over to www.jesusmyplug.net. From trendy tees to unique accessories, Jesus Is My Plug has something for everyone. Don't miss out on exclusive deals and the latest drops. Sign up for their text list on the website. Plus, stay inspired and connected by following them on Instagram at Jesus Is My Plug brand. Show your faith with confidence and let the world know that Jesus is your plug. Shop now, sign up, make sure you follow us. All right, Aftermath family, welcome back to another episode of the Aftermath. I think we got a good one today, man. This is something that this is a subject that I've kind of been studying over the last few weeks, and I think that it's going to be a blessing. And hopefully, it frees some people, man, and we can kind of grow from this and get better from it, and just move on and let us just get better from this, man. But before we get there, man, just an update on me, man. Life is great right now, man. I've really been waking up trying to make the conscious decision to just rest in gratitude. Even my approach on getting up, going to work some days when I'm kind of tired or I may not be in the mood to go, man, I've really just found the pockets of my job, my career, my passion that I really enjoy most. And I've just been trying to rest there. Everything isn't great. Everything in my career field, working in law enforcement, probably won't ever be great, to be honest, man. So it's important that we just find those pockets where we thrive, we do well, and that we're most beneficial to be in. So that's kind of where I've been, man. Family's great, man. Wife is good, kids are good, man. I'm just really, really, really enjoying life and looking forward to seeing what God has next. You know, that's kind of where I'm at. Oh, by the way, got new merchandise coming for Jesus in My Plug too, so definitely be on the lookout for that, man. I'm excited about some of the new items that I have coming. It's gonna be dope, man. Got some hoodies, some beanies coming. Restock on some of the shirts that sold out last year, so I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Getting ready to launch my website, randycmays.com. So definitely be on the lookout for that as well. Got some exciting things coming this year. So, all right, let's get into it. Today's episode is the aftermath of forgiveness. This is a subject that gets touched on and taught on, but I have a couple of areas that I found in my time of study that I think will be beneficial for you on. Forgiveness normally starts out with the churchy forgiveness isn't for the person, it's for you. Free yourself from that. I'm like, man, all that is awesome, but why? Why should I free myself from it? I think sometimes when we go into things, we hear this stuff and we want to be free from it. We understand that we may experience the heaviness of harboring feelings of unforgiveness in our hearts and in our minds, but I don't think that we necessarily know how much unforgiveness can cost us. I don't think we really know what unforgiveness can do to our hearts and our minds. I don't really think that we understand what unforgiveness can do for our walk with Christ. This thing, unforgiveness, man, and having to forgive people who have wronged us, man, number one, it ain't easy. And number two, it can cost us a lot. So today, the topic, unforgiveness, we're going to come from 2 Corinthians 2. Of course, Paul is dealing with the church at Corinth, and there's a portion in there in the second chapter, somewhere around the fifth. Let's go to like the fifth verse. Paul says, if anyone has caused pain, he has caused pain not so much to me, but to some degree, not to exaggerate, to all of you. This punishment by the majority is sufficient for that person. As a result, you should instead forgive and comfort him. Otherwise, he may be overwhelmed by excessive grief. Therefore, I urge you to reaffirm your love to him. I wrote for this purpose, to test your character, to see if you're obedient in everything. Anyone you forgive, I do too. For what I have forgiven, if I have forgiven anything, it is for your benefit in the presence of Christ, so that we may not be taken advantage of by Satan. For we are not ignorant of his schemes. This is a loaded portion of the text, man, that I came to appreciate, honestly, probably about a month and a half ago when I first started when I first ran across this again. Sometimes when you're studying the word of God, you can read it in one season and it don't really hit like talking about, and then you read it in another season and you get all this revelation and all this clarity, man. And that's one thing I love about the word of God, is that it's a living, breathing document that hits you where it needs to hit you when it needs to hit you. So Paul says, if anyone has caused you pain, if anyone has hurt you, he has caused pain not so much to me, but to some degree, not to exaggerate, but to all of you. Hurt one, you hurt all of us. This punishment by the majority is sufficient for that person. So it's saying that someone hurting you or hurting someone else, that's enough punishment for them. You don't have to go around harboring these feelings of unforgiveness or holding grudges or animosity in your heart towards them. The fact that they went and they hurt the church, that's punishment enough. So Paul says, because they've received the punishment that they already have, knowing that they hurt somebody, hurt the church, you should instead forgive them. So you may be a super forgiving person. To be honest, I used to think something was wrong with me because I couldn't hold grudges. I would hear people say things like, man, you're a better person than me. You're better than me. Couldn't be me. I would hear that my whole life growing up, and I would think I was soft because I was able to forgive and continue relationships. I was also able to forgive and just not deal with people anymore, but holding on to things and having all this hatred in my heart towards people, I just couldn't do it. And then as I got older, I noticed, and I would see people who would harbor these feelings of unforgiveness and all this stuff towards people. They were kind of miserable. I mean, they were kind of quick tempered. They were always kind of angry. You can't even bring up that person's name without them ready to cuss somebody out or fight all over again, without those feelings of pain that was caused by that person coming back to them. And here's what's crazy. They could be in an amazing season of life until they hear that person's name and are reminded of what they did to them. Now they're back in a negative space. So you could physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally be in a great place in your life. Hear that person's name and now you pissed off. Think about the time periods here in Dallas where we have ice and the roads are slick and it's freezing and the whole city shut down. It's miserable. You get on a private jet and you go to Turks and Caicos, you go to Aruba, you go somewhere where the weather's amazing. You're sitting there. You're in excellent season of weather, eating good, all the free drinks you want. I mean, it's amazing time. It's beautiful. You're resting. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to take any phone calls. You don't have to take care of any kids. You're sitting there soaking up the sun, and some random person walks up to you and brings up what happened to you in 2004, or brings up the name of the person that hurt you the worst in the late 90s. And you make the decision that you're going to leave the beach and go to your room and sulk, no longer enjoying the weather. No longer enjoying the season that you're in, the free food, the free drinks, the not having to deal with kids or whatever the thing is. Can you imagine having the opportunity to be in an amazing space, in an amazing season, but because you're harboring and you're holding on to unforgiveness, you can't even enjoy it? That's where a lot of people are, and I've seen it time and time again, and I struggle watching people because I'm like, man, I want to be empathetic that they were hurt. I believe that they were hurt. And I agree that person that did that to you, they were wrong. But may I offer that you holding on to those feelings of unforgiveness and bitterness, that you wrong too. Paul says they're already punished. They caused you pain, hurt all these people. Says this punishment by the majority is sufficient for that person. That's enough. Them moving like that, what they did, and hurt, that's enough punishment. And here it is. The unforgiveness you have in their heart towards them, it ain't even hurting them. it's only hurting you. You can't enjoy the beach and this season that God has put you in. He's put you in a new house, new car. You're actually able to sleep now. Your blood pressure's now in this new season until you hear their name. And now you can't even enjoy everything that's going on around you. Watch this. Paul says, this punishment by the majority is sufficient for that person. As a result, you should instead forgive. Paul says, as a result of them already being punished and as a result of them already receiving sufficient punishment, you should forgive them. So when they've caused you your pain or caused your family pain, the punishment they've received is enough. You don't know the type of torment that they may have to deal with when they sleep at night. Because this is especially speaking to if you're dealing with believers, right? So you don't know. They may look like they're doing fine, and then when they're trying to rest, God is dealing with them in their sleep. Maybe they can't rest. They've received the punishment. You just got to trust and believe that God is going to take care of his children. But it's incumbent upon you to make sure that you're also doing what God is telling you to do. And that's simply to forgive. But we have to keep reading, though. It says, as a result, you should instead forgive and comfort. What I like about this is that sometimes we can be caught up in the I'm good culture, or I'm over that culture, or no, we straight. And so what's built into this text by Paul, I believe, is a temp check on whether you really forgave or not. Because I can say that I forgave you for what you did to me. I forgave you for breaking my heart. I forgave you for stealing my car. I can say I forgave you, but it says, and comfort him. Do you have it in you to not only forgive the person that offended you, that did what they did to you, that caused you pain? Do you have the ability to comfort them as well? The person that offended you right now, because more than likely you still follow them on Facebook, because deep down inside, you want the inkling of them doing bad in life. You want to see something. You want to see them post a car wreck. You want to see that something didn't happen to them, that they didn't lost. You want to see it. Be honest. And so that's why you still follow them. And since you do still follow them, Joe mess yourself. If they were to post today that something bad happened to them, or that they needed food, or something, or a resource that you could actually help with, and maybe it may not even be a resource, maybe you could offer them a word of prayer, would you do it? I believe that you know for sure that you've really forgiven this person when you have no problem at all comforting them. That's what I believe. The text goes on to say, but before I continue, I want you to pause, and I want you to think about, as I'm talking about somebody who caused you pain, or somebody that hurt you, somebody or some situation that's coming to your mind. I have no idea what it is, who it is. I don't even know what they did to you. Not my business. But I just want you to ask yourself, do you have the capacity or the ability to comfort them if you had the opportunity? The opportunity may not present itself based on the offense on what they did. It may be best that you don't communicate, or that you distance yourself from them, whatever it is. But do you have the ability to comfort them? If God tugged on you to do something for them right now, would you be obedient to do it? Would you have the heart to do it? If the answer is no, I don't believe you've truly forgiven that person. The text goes on to say, otherwise he may be overwhelmed by excessive grief. Otherwise he may be overwhelmed by excessive grief. It said, this is saying that you not doing it, and you continue to try to make that person hurt, or continue to make sure that person feel it, it's just causing more grief on their life. So now you're hurting them. Therefore, I urge you to reaffirm your love to him. So there may be time periods where you communicate with that person, and you may let that person know, hey man, you hurt me, or hey ma'am, you hurt me by what you did, but I still love you. You may even say, you hurt me by what you did. I won't allow you back into that same space that you were in with me. Our dynamics have changed for sure, but I still love you. That is absolutely something that I've personally had to do before. I've had to reclassify some relationships before, and I've just refused to let that person back into that same space. Love them. If they call me today to do something, I got them. No brainer, no hesitation. Text goes on to say, I wrote for this purpose, to test your character to see if you are obedient in everything. Anyone you forgive, I do too. Paul is saying that the way that I read this text and what jumped out to me is that, man, if I'm a person that makes a decision to hold on to these feelings of unforgiveness, I have a character flaw. Paul says, I wrote this for the purpose to test your character, to see if you are obedient in everything. Paul literally says, I wrote this portion of the text to test your character, to see if you're obedient in everything. So you may have a character flaw and an obedience issue, because it's clear as day that we're called to forgive. And if we look back over the model that was set before us, as Jesus Christ was on the cross, mocked, ridiculed, falsely accused, blameless, he made the decision and asked for forgiveness for those that were causing him pain. There was emotional pain, there was mental pain, and there was physical pain being brought on Jesus Christ on the cross. And he made the decision to forgive, for they know not. Sometimes I think we give people too much credit. A lot of times when people have hurt us or caused us pain, it may have been intentional. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But what if they just didn't know? I know. Sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, we expect people to think exactly how we think, and we expect people to move and operate in the same manner that we move and operate. But the fact of the matter is, they're not us. They're not you. That's what makes you special. You would never do anything like that. I believe you. But what if they just know not? What if they just knew not? What if they just didn't know how bad their actions were going to affect you? What if they struggle with selfishness and they never even thought about how that was going to affect you? Now, you don't have to allow them back into the space to do that again, especially if they haven't grew up or matured yet. But what if they just didn't know? Then you say, the offense was so bad, I can't forgive. I won't forgive. They don't deserve forgiveness. I say, neither do you. You don't either. This is a Christian podcast to get Christians to grow up, to grow, to be better. That's what this podcast is for. You're right. They don't deserve it, and neither do you. So you both of y'all can just walk around unforgiven and head straight to a devil's hell. Here's what I'm telling you. That unforgiveness is costing you the joy of your present season. What they did to you was a while ago. God has moved on and you've elevated. You've moved on. And if you haven't elevated, if you're still stuck, what if you're still stuck where you are because you're holding on to unforgiveness? What if you are a bit of forgiveness and a bit of comfort away from your breakthrough? What if you just got to deal with that malice in your heart toward this person, and the greater that they told you is coming is here? What if you are a phone conversation away from being debt free? Because what if God can't take you to your next because you're holding on to the unforgiveness? Because if he gives you what's next now, if he gives you elevation now, you'll use that to flex on a person that hurt you instead of giving him glory. You'll say stuff like, look at me, look at where I'm at, and look where they are. And God will get no glory. Deal with the unforgiveness in your heart so you can get all that God has for you. Paul says, anyone you forgive, man, I do too. This is to the family members who can't let go what happened to your family member. She forgave that man for what he did to her, but she messed around and told you because you was a safe place and she wanted to vent and she wanted somebody to know. She forgave that man, they moved on, and you still can't go over their house and eat. Let it go. She back with that man, they back together, they chilling, they happy, they in Cabo. Let it go. For what I have forgiven, if I have forgiven anything, it is for your benefit in the presence of Christ, so that we may not be taken advantage of by Satan. Don't forget that seeing this division between believers makes the enemy happy, that he's looking, that he's seeking to kill, to steal, kill, and destroy, that he's roaming, that he's looking for that end to play with your mind because you mad at somebody and you haven't forgiven them. The devil, Satan, is watching. So Paul says, for what I have forgiven, if I have forgiven anything, it is for your benefit in Christ. If you want to reap the benefits of benefits in the presence of Christ, you got to let it go. And this says, so that you may not be taken advantage of by Satan, for we are not ignorant of his skin. We know the devil's play: steal, kill, and destroy. Here's Here's what I believe, because I think the ESV version reads a little differently. See if I can find it. Let's see. This says that Paul says in the ESV version, anyone whom you forgive also forgive. Indeed, what I have forgiven, if I have forgiven anything, has been for your sake in the presence of Christ. So that we, collective, would not be outwitted by Satan, for we are not ignorant of his designs. So here's what, when I read this, what jumped out to me is unforgiveness. What if every bit of unforgiveness that we hold in our heart towards somebody gives the devil another entry point to our mind, to play on our minds? So every person, so say if you have 10 people that you're holding unforgiveness in your heart towards, and that's 10 entry points to your mind. And since the devil does not play fair, see, it's okay when you think about that person and offense and what they did to you. It's okay in your brain if you like, I hope they get hurt. I hope something bad happens to them. Or the devil plays on your mind and says, man, I want to do something to them. I want to hurt them physically. See, that's cool. That's cool when it's us on top, right? That's cool when we think about when that anger and unforgiveness. It's cool when we say, I want to do something, I want to hurt them, which ain't even how your truth. That's not even your true feelings as a believer. We should be rooted in love. So that anger and violence is in you. That ain't even of God. So it's cool when the violence is directed at them, when the devil plays on your mind and tells you to hurt them. But since the devil don't play fair, what if those thoughts that you have of hurting yourself are rooted in unforgiveness? What if he don't play fair? If you got all these feelings and thoughts of unforgiveness because everybody that comes into your life hurts you, what if you begin to question your self-worth? What if you begin to doubt your call and your purpose because of what people are doing to you in the church? Nobody sees your gift. Sister such and such is always out front. They never asked me to come speak. They never called me to come pray. They never picked me. You're holding on, passed over. You're holding on to unforgiveness. So now you doubt that you have gifts. You doubt that you're called. You doubt that you have purpose, all rooted in unforgiveness. So yeah, for your own sake, you should forgive. It's costing you more than what you know. The aftermath of forgiveness is freedom, benefits in Christ, maybe being seen. Because whether you believe it or not, you wear that unforgiveness. Yeah, it's on you. In your conversation, how you approach stuff, your response to things, your response to situations, you're wearing it. And that may be costing you some of the opportunities that you feel you should have. I want you to forgive. I literally want you to write down the people that you don't, that you need to forgive. And then the test is, can I comfort them? Remember Joseph at the end, his brothers tried to kill him. They tried. He did stint at Potiphar's house. He ended up going to prison, falsely accused, treated really bad, but really anointed. And ultimately, he makes it. He becomes governor. And now opportunity presented itself for him to bless what tried to kill him. And they came and they tried to talk to him and apologize and all this stuff like that. And all Joseph said is, but one of the things that he said is, man, I ain't tripping. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. And he gave them what they needed. The years leading up to that, Joseph could have been bitter and angry towards his brothers. I don't know. The fact of the matter is, when he had the opportunity to forgive, he forgave and he comforted them, as Paul tells us to do in 2 Corinthians. This is that model. So this week, here's a challenge. Forgive them before they take accountability for what they did. We are in a culture where accountability is dang near non-existent. Nobody wants to be held accountable. Nobody wants to take ownership. Forgive them before they take accountability. Forgive them whether they apologize to you or not. And if you're still struggling, you may need to have a phone conversation with them. Pick up the phone. Call them. Tell them how they offended you, how it made you feel. Don't do it so you can get an apology. Do it so you can get it off your heart. And it's okay for you to verbalize, but I forgive you. And it says reaffirm and love. And I love you too. That's the challenge this week. Aftermath family, I have appreciated this time with y'all. My prayer though is that something was said during this last 20 minutes or however long, that you can take with you and affect positive change in your life. That way you can seek and get all that God has for you. Till next week, guys. Peace.